Here on Facebook Live today. Listen, I'm outside. I've been running all day. Got a lot of work to do. Great things are happening at New Life Kingdom Center. Great things are happening with Bijou Fine Fashions. We got a fashion show coming up October 20th if you want to be a part of. Great things are happening with Born to Lead. Got a seminar I'm going to be talking about very soon. Born to Write. Yeah, Born to Write. Born to Write. So you get ready for that. I'm going to give you some dates for that. Born to Write. But today I want to drop some things on you today that I want you to think about. I'm going to start right later on this afternoon because I'm really excited about it. I want to get this in your hands because I think a lot of you are looking for purpose and destiny, trying to find out what you're supposed to be doing, what you're called to do. And I might be able to help you today not be so frustrated in life trying to do what everybody else is doing instead of doing what you were created for. So let's talk a little bit about this. I want you to understand you have the oil to do it. Let me say that again. You got the oil to do it. You got an oil that's all your own. You got a personality that's all your own. You got a style that's all your own to do what you've been destined to do. Not a counterfeit you, but the real you. You are destined to do it. So I'm gonna start this right now, but I'm gonna pick it up this evening at 7:30 at our Bible study. But I'm gonna start it right now. I really want to get this in your spirit today. I'm really excited about it. I want to get this in your spirit. So let's talk about it, the oil to do it. The Bible says in 1 Samuel 16, verse 11 through 13, it says, "And Samuel said unto Jesse, Are here all thy children? And he said, There remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Send and fetch for him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. And he sent, and they brought him in. Now he was ruddy, and withal beautiful countenance, and goodly to look at. And the Lord said, Arise, anoint him, for this is he. Then Samuel took the horn of oil, and anointed him in the midst of his brethren, and the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward." Yeah, listen, you got the oil to do it. Now, I want you to get this in your spirit, because I'm going to give you a couple points here. You got the oil to do it, no matter what it looks like. For your destiny, for your purpose, for what you've been carved out in this world to do, you have the oil to do it. So let me jump right into this. Number one, in order for you to really do something big for God, to walk in your purpose and destiny, you got to know that you have the charismata for it. Yeah, the charismata for it. Here's what charismatic means in this case. Gifting, ability, watch this, and the power to inspire devotion from others. Yeah, gifting, an ability, and the power to inspire devotion from others. And here's what I'm finding out. People are really frustrated because, what's my purpose, Pastor Troy? What's my destiny? And they'll start looking at what other people are doing, start looking at what other people are trying to do, and try to copy, watch this, or counterfeit the oil that's on somebody else's life. Yeah, you're gonna have to get this today. Some of us are frustrated because we just haven't found what we are uniquely carved out to do. And that can only be shown to you by God. God can only show you what you're uniquely carved out to do, what your unique purpose is. A man can't tell you that, a woman can't tell you that. We can look at your gifting, we can look at your talents and say, maybe you should do this and maybe you should do that. But you're gonna have to get a knowing on the inside of you what you are called to do. I'm finding that teaching Born to Lead, coaching people, that people look at other people's anointing, look at what other people are doing, and try to copy what they see. Maybe not a carbon copy, but a knockoff version. You know, it ain't a real Louis, but it's a Louis. You know, a knockoff version of what somebody else is doing. And that's where the frustration comes from, because you really don't have the gift to do that. You really don't have the calling to do that. Constantly people are saying to me, you know, Pastor, are you in full-time ministry? How'd you do that? Pastor, are you in full-time ministry? You know, how did you get people to follow you? How are you able to do that? And I want you to understand something here. People were following me since I was 6 or 7 years old. Yeah, I was teaching Bible study at Sunday school at 13. I was a captain on almost every team I was on, from my Little League baseball team to my basketball team to the church league, to my high school football team. Even though I wasn't a starter on the JV basketball team, I was still a captain, because I've always had the charismata, the ability, the skill set to get things done. I've always had the charismata, the ability to make things happen. And watch this, I've always been able to inspire devotion to whatever I'm called to in other people. Now that's real important, because what happens is when people are under other people, what do you say? Yeah, I try to be. I've been modeling true leadership all my life, Lisa Hart. I've been modeling that all my life. But get this, I didn't create that. That wasn't something that I started. It was inherent in me. It was already in me. And from a little child all the way up to an adult, I would get people inspired and devoted to my cause. Yeah, they would see my passion, they would see my love for it and say, man, I'm gonna connect to that guy. I wanna do what he's doing. It wasn't a passion off of somebody else. It was a passion that I already had. I could start nothing, take nothing and start something. I could say I wanna go play basketball and 80 people would go with me. I want to play baseball and 25 people would grab their bats and gloves and go with me. It wasn't something that I pulled teeth or tried to get. I just inspired people to have a devotion to something that I saw and wanted to do. And that's a gifting. That's a gifting you have. That's an ability you have. You can't conjure that up. You know, there are people who start churches that want a pastor, that are under other pastors. And a lot of times they'll see the crowd developing and they'll be given a mic and they'll do something. Whether it's preach or teach or do public speaking, and people get fired up. But you need to understand, that's a crowd that has been oiled by somebody else. You're getting the byproduct of that oil. Let me say that again. I want you to get this. The charismata of the other person has already inspired that crowd. That crowd has already been cranked up and oiled up to adhere to and listen to the passion of who's ever appointed for the moment. So sometimes we get up there and try to do or copy or counterfeit what the other person has done, or maybe we're working on our own gifting, our own calling. But the oil of the other person is resident there. So you can be fooled into thinking that's all you, and it's really not. Let me say that again. You can be fooled into thinking that's all your oil when somebody else has primed the pump for a flow to come out. And you really got to understand, you got to get that. Because what will happen is you'll try to work in your charismata aside or exempt from that person. And what you'll find out is you'll find failure there. And you'll start to say, what happened? I was good over here. I was good over there. But now it's not working. It's because somebody else oil primed that pump. Somebody else's oil set the atmosphere for you to be received. What happens when you got to set your own atmosphere? What happens when you're the main stage person? Do you have main stage ability, man? You need to get this today. You know, you need to understand that you're co-authoring a book. So the crowd that bought the book is looking at the primary author, and you are a part of the story. But when you got to write your own book, does it sell? When you got to write your own book, do people want to read it? Or are they looking at the primary author saying, I like his stuff, I'm gonna read this, and you are the byproduct of the oil of the primary. You need to get this. That charismata is important because people are tripping and falling because they don't have the ability from the very beginning. They're riding the coattail of somebody else. I'm gonna see. Yeah, Ulysses, I'm trying to help people today. Here's the power of this. Now, ability is important. Skill is important. But this text takes us to a different level. It says that David already had skill. He already had ability. He already had a beautiful countenance. And then God added the oil. Woo! He added the oil to the ability he already had, the skill he already had, and the countenance and favor that was already on him. God poured oil. Here's what you need to get. Everybody has some ability and everybody has some skill, but everybody doesn't have the oil. Woo, Lord have mercy. The oil is what breaks yokes. The oil is the power of liberation. So when people connect with your purpose, connect with your passion, they feel liberated because of the oil. Yeah, you may get stuff done with your skill and ability, but are people liberated? Do they feel connected? Are they walking in it at a whole nother level? You know, I see people all the time who say they want to do something and want to start something, but they are not willing to put in the work that is necessary to make things happen. Yeah, now the wind's blowing, going crazy over here. I want to read something here. You gotta have the ability to see yourself the way God sees you. Yeah, and you gotta be able to do this when nobody's watching. Charismatic people who have the oil to get things done don't need a crowd. Oh God, listen, they don't need a crowd. I don't need nobody to affirm. I don't need anybody to affirm me, say I'm doing good, say that I'm strong, say that I'm great. I'm doing it because it's inherent in me. It's my ability, it's my skill set, and I got the oil to make it happen. So I'm one of those people, if you tell me you want me to do a Bible study, If it's 5 people there, I'm excited. If it's 2 people there, I'm excited. If it's 1 person there, I'm excited. Because I understand that my gifting, as soon as I use it and the oil that's on it, makes room for a bigger crowd. Woo, Lord have mercy. So if you can't be excited about the 1 person that comes to your business meeting, about the 2 people that come to your business meeting, you'll never really be able to have the real passion for the 3,000. You must have the same charismatic with 2 that you'll have with 30,000. Or you won't be authentic in your purpose. I'm excited about my purpose, even if I'm by myself. Yeah, I'm encouraged about my purpose, even if I'm by myself. So number one, you gotta have this charismatic. You gotta already have this inherent ability, inherent skill. I was watching Zarina Lomax, a young lady that I've met in passing. Zarina does a talk show. She does some kind of showcases on a regular basis. And I realized there'll be other people that'll try to do what Zarina does, but they don't have the same ability, skill, or watch this, oil for it. Yeah, so Zarina will get on the bus to do an interview. Zarina will pack all her stuff in bags and carry it where she needs to go because she's not waiting on anybody. She already has an inherent skill to get it done. Yeah, so you gotta have this charismatic. You gotta have the ability to move the crowd that has already been conditioned to adhere to your voice. You're gonna have to build your own crowd with your own charismatic, your own ability, your own skill, and guess what? Your own oil. Lord have mercy, Jesus. Your own oil. Many churches fail because somebody has been operating under somebody else's oil and thinking they can do it by themselves. Yeah, and listen, 5-person crowd doesn't excite them. The 2-person crowd doesn't excite them, so the charismatic is not sustainable. It's not sustainable. Yeah, you gotta have your own oil. But just type that on there. I got my own oil. I got my own oil. I have my own purpose. I have my own passion. Yeah, give me some thumbs, some hearts, some likes. I have my own oil. I have my own passion. I have my own skill. I have my own ability. Therefore, it is sustainable. Counterfeits will never sustain a movement. Counterfeits will never sustain a movement. Number 2, you must have your own competency. Now listen to this. 1 Samuel 16:11 says David kept his father's sheep. Okay, so the way that a person really builds their repertoire and their resume is to be faithful keeping somebody else's sheep. Yeah, I cannot tell whether or not your charismatic is real. I cannot tell whether or not you understand who you are if you don't understand whose sheep you're keeping, whose business you're running. Let me see, Nish. Yeah, you do, Nish. You have your own oil. I was talking to Pastor Trina about you today. I don't really know what you can do until I see how faithful you are in a spot. And most times when you're beginning, you don't have your own spot. I just told you that. You have somebody else's spot. But how faithful are you in that spot? And how adept are you to understanding they're not your sheep? They're not your customers. They're not your crowd. So you treat them with the respect as if you didn't own them, but I'm keeping them as if they were mine. Yeah, because that's very important. That's very important, especially in the church realm. People treat people any old kind of way until they get their own. People treat your business any old kind of way until they get their own. I want to see how faithful you are in somebody else's stuff. I want to see how faithful you are when you're keeping the front of somebody else's store. Are you smiling out front? Are you nice to the customers? Do you have great customer service? You know, how are you treating somebody else's stuff? Are you treating it like it was yours? Not that you own it, not that you can use it however you want, but you respect it as if it was yours. Very, very, very important. Very, very important. Competency. How do I handle? I want to read the scripture to you because I want you to hear this. Luke 16:12, and I think it's not by chance that it's 1 Samuel 16 and Luke 16:12. It says this: if therefore you have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust true riches? Watch this one. And if you have not been faithful in that which is another man's, who shall give you that which is your own? Okay, so here's the important thing. Why would God give you your own project? Why would God give you your own crowd? Why would God give you your own business? Why would God give you your own entrepreneurial endeavor? Why would he do that if you couldn't be faithful in somebody else's stuff? God Almighty. Yeah. If you can't be faithful with the money he gives you now, why would he give you $1 million for a building project? Let's back up for a minute. You asking God to give you money for a business. You asking God to give you money for entrepreneurship. You asking God to give you money for a project, but you can't even be faithful in your own budgeting. You're not going to be able to handle the big thing if you can't handle the personal thing. Personal development comes way before you get your crowd. Let me say that again. If God can't give you $200 and you can make it stretch, why would God give you $2,000? Why would God give you $20,000? Why would God give you $100,000 and you don't know how to make it stretch? You don't know how to budget. You don't know how to eat hot dogs because the project is more important. You don't know how to eat peanut butter and jelly because the project is more important. You don't want to spend money frivolously because it's not your business. You're not the entrepreneur. You're working for them. You understand this? None of that money's yours. It's all God's. And God has tons of projects you need to get done, but you squander purpose money. God Almighty. Purpose money. Purpose money is on your feet. Purpose money is on your back. Purpose money is in your stomach. So God says, I can't give you more money if you can't handle the personal purpose money I give you. If I asked you to sow to somebody and give up a pair of shoes this week or give up a pocketbook this week and give this woman $200 to go get grocery shopping so she can sustain her health, if you can't do that, why would I give you $20,000 to build a group home? We missing it. We're missing it. You got all this charismatic, you want to run out and do stuff, but God is saying, how have you handled your personal stuff? Yeah, competency comes with counting costs. You have to learn how to count the costs. You got to learn how to make money stretch on a personal level before God will ever give you a bigger project. Yeah, you got to get this. You got the oil for it. You got the oil for budgeting. You do. You got the oil to get projects done. You do. But God says, I'm not going to graduate you to another level of projects, to another level of funding until you get this personal stuff done. Until I can see you handle your paycheck. Why would I ever let you hold payroll? Let me say that again. If you can't handle your paycheck, why would I ever let you handle somebody's payroll? Because see, once you are the main person, once you are the one on display, every mouth gets fed through you. He was keeping his father's sheep. He didn't lose a sheep. Sheep didn't go without. They found pasture in and out. He didn't quit on sheep. He wasn't late on sheep. I want you to hear this now. You saying you want to be in charge. You say you want to be the project leader. You say you want to be the pastor. You say you want to be an entrepreneur. But you late on the regular sheep. You can't show up to usher on time. You can't show up to play music on time. You can't show up to work on time. You stop and get coffee when you're 15 minutes late. How can God trust you with his people when coffee is interrupting you being on time? You can't stop at Starbucks. You can't stop at Dunkin' Donuts when you're 15 minutes late. All right? I'm talking better and preaching better and coaching better than you are responding. You want God to trust you with something big, but you 15 minutes late and then you come in with Dunkin' Donuts? When did you have time to get that? You're late. And that's consistent. Month in, month out. Not consistent on time, consistent lateness. And then you come to church and say, Pastor, put me over something. How can I do that? Let me ask you a question. If the requirement for you getting a position in church was you bringing your last review from your job to your pastor, would you be promoted at church? I'll wait. If one of the requirements for you to be promoted at church was, hey, listen, bring me your last review from your job. Let's see how competent you are there. Because the Bible says those that want to be bishops, elders, deacons, that want to walk in authority and power must have a good report inside the church and outside of the church. Good God Almighty. What would your business review, what would your review tell me about you? Now, listen, we're all a work in progress, so don't feel beat up, because I'm working on some stuff too. You know, and that's competent people are constantly evaluating who they are. They're constantly evaluating what they do. They're constantly evaluating and are truthful with themselves about where they are in trouble. Yeah, you know, and at that point, a competent person finds somebody comparable. I have this struggle. I must add somebody to this mix so I can be successful. If you're gonna be successful, it can't be all about you. It can't be. It can't be. It can't all be about, you know, you want to go full time. You know, you want to be an entrepreneur. You want to take things to the next level, but yet and still, you can't find nobody to work with. You're difficult with everybody. You know, and here's one thing I want to get in your spirit. When you are a competent person, you can communicate with those who can't communicate back before you get to communicate with those who can give you input. Let me say that again. You must learn how to communicate with those who can't necessarily communicate back with you. You must get through to a crowd that's tough. You must get through to a crowd that doesn't speak your language before God will give you a crowd that can actually give you suggestions. Now, where am I getting that from? David was tending sheep. Somehow, David was able to talk the sheep's language, get them to obey, get them to move the way he wanted them to move before God would give him a crowd of discontented, in debt and distressed folk. He could handle sheep who he could get an interpretation to of his dream. He was competent at that. And you must become competent at that too. Yeah, everybody's not gonna talk your language, everybody's not gonna see it your way, but can you still move the crowd? I got one more. We talked about competency, so let's do this. It's also gonna take courage. Watch this. Courage to protect the vision even when it's not yours. To put your neck out even when the total responsibility for it is not on you. Let me show you what I mean by that. You know, the pastor has something to do, and he has a staff of ministers. The ministers will protect the church, protect the vision, protect the integrity. I remember, and I'm going to say this now, the church is no longer connected, but no longer working. I'm just telling this story for reference sake. But I used to be a part of a church where, actually, Redemptive Life Church. I'm going to say it, Redemptive Life Church. We had an issue where the bathrooms were out of order. They were out of order. Church no longer exists, but the bathrooms are out of order. And I was working youth church, and the kids had to use a pail and bucket in order to go to the restroom. Now, this wasn't any fault of the pastors. Pastor Lewis, Pastor Sylvia had done everything they could do. We had an emergency. So to protect the integrity of the church, we let the kids go in a pail, and then I would take the pail and empty the pail out, clean it out, and get it ready for the next child that may need to go. Now, you need to understand this. That takes courage to carry urine and not feel ashamed or too big. I'm a minister. I'm this, I'm that. I did whatever it took to protect the integrity of my church, my pastors, and the people. Whatever the need was, I'm here to meet it. That's, you know, emergencies happen all the time. Can the leader, the organizer, the pastor, the business owner, can they find you when it's time to protect the church? Can they find you when they run out of hands to do something? Do you make yourself available? Right now, I'm helping a friend who owns a business, and he needs some hands to do some things. And I'm not looking to get paid. Let me turn around all the way around. Say that again. And I'm not looking to get paid, because I realize when I sow into somebody, I reap. See, I operate on laws and principles. I have the courage to believe, God, that if I sow, I'll reap. So I have a friend right now that I'm helping with his business. I'm not looking to get paid. I'm not looking to cash in. I'm not looking for a check. He needs help. So I'm helping him, giving my expertise, giving my skills, giving my charismata, so that his business does not fail, so that his business does not fall under. That those that should have been competent enough to stand by him when they didn't, God will touch you on the shoulder and say, you do it. And when God says you do it, you don't say, well, God, what am I going to get out of it? God, what's coming to me? Well, will you give me a new building? Will you give me this? Will you give me that? No. You do it because God said so. You do it because that's your gifting and your calling and your skill and your ability. It's God given to you. You don't look to cash in every time somebody's in trouble. That's not what you do. You don't cash in when people are in trouble. You don't look at that as your opportunity to make a whole lot of money because somebody's in trouble. You just jump into a courageous mode. I'm here to help. David kept his father's sheep. Not his sheep, his father's sheep. And watch this. A lion and a bear showed up. Got it, D. Got it. Got it, Roxana. Got it. I'm sorry I'm not speaking to all of your comments. I just want to get this stuff out of me because I'm full of it right now. Listen, a lion showed up and a bear showed up. And watch this. David didn't say, they ain't my sheep. They ain't my sheep. I'm not dying for those sheep. Those are my daddy's sheep. If daddy want to save them, he ought to be here to protect them. That's not what David said. David said, I got to protect what God has put under my authority. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. If God puts something under your authority, then you ought to protect it like it's your own. Have the integrity and character to make sure that it doesn't die on your watch. The usher team shouldn't die on your watch. The media team shouldn't die on your watch. The front of the house or the restaurant shouldn't die on your watch. The kitchen shouldn't die on your watch. In the jewelry store, the display shouldn't fall apart on your watch. The cash register should be checked and counted and debited and credited properly on your watch. Not, oh, well, it ain't my store, it ain't my restaurant, it ain't my church, ain't my business, ain't my daycare. No. You wipe down the counter as if it was your hoagie shop. You wipe down the counter as if it was your pizza shop. You gotta have the courage to step in the middle and say, I'm gonna protect this like it was mine, for the integrity of the person who gave me the authority to hold on to it. Man, I know. I want to go forward, but I think I'm gonna stop right here. And we'll pick up tonight at 7 o'clock. We talked about charismata, the ability, the skill, and the oil to get devotion out of a crowd for your passion and what you've been called to your cause. People move towards your cause because of your ability, your skill, watch this, and the oil God gave you to cause them to be devoted to that vision. Then you need to be competent. You need to get stuff done. You need to handle things the way they're supposed to be handled. You're supposed to take care of it as if it was yours. Who would give you something of your own if you can't be trusted with somebody else's? If you can't handle your personal purpose budget, how will you ever get the $1 million budget to handle the business? If you can't handle the 2 people in Bible study, why would God give you 500? If you can't handle the business of paying Pico and Comcast and Aqua, how can we know you'll handle it when it's acres of land that need to be taken care of and watched over? Yeah, and then you gotta have courage. You gotta protect what God puts under your authority. You gotta protect what you're connected to. You have to know, I must guard the integrity of my pastor. I must guard the integrity of my business owner. I got to guard the integrity of the person that's running the nonprofit. I got to treat this and protect it and fight for it as if I was the one in charge. Because one day, you will be in charge. And you reap what you sow. Yeah, you walked away from your church, told the pastor, heck with you, I'm done with this. This is your church. Well, partnership, you must have been a member, because partners don't do that. Yeah. Partners share in the success and the failures of a business. Yeah, we go through this together. If I would never go into business with somebody that only saw it as mine, then we can't be partners. Because if we're partners, then I'm losing out. You're gonna walk away from this and leave me with the bag. Be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful with fair weather partners. Fair weather partners. People who are only connected when things are good. Can they hang around when stuff ain't right? Can they hang around when it's only 20 of y'all, when it used to be 2,000 of y'all? I remember Ivy Hilliard saying when he changed his style of preaching and God gave him a different vision to start preaching the word of faith, his church went from like a couple thousand to 25 people. Now he has 8 locations, 10 locations, sons and daughters all over the globe. Yeah, because out of those 25 people, somebody hung around and said, I'm a partner in this. I'm going to follow your charismatic. I see how competent you are. And you got courage, man. I'm going to connect to that. And one day you're going to want to reap the benefits of those stances in your life. Being courageous, being charismatic, and being competent are great things. But you got the oil on top of that to do whatever God called you to do. Man, I'll see you tonight. We'll pick up tonight. Got like 3 more to go. I love you guys. Everybody that was on this live today, share it with somebody. Somebody that knows they got the goods but don't know how to get turned on right. They got to connect to somebody. They got to work with somebody else's vision. They got to give their all, connect at a whole nother level. And then God will say, okay, I've seen you be faithful over little. Now I can give you much. If you can't handle little, you ain't going to never get much. Hey, this your boy, Pastor Troy. You born to lead, walking your destiny and purpose. You got the oil to do it. God bless. See y'all later. Peace.